everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life number 116. Here we are sitting the 18th of September, 2019. And boy, do we have a show for you tonight. We don't know who's going to be left at the end of the show.
No children.
but we have a feeling it may be wild.
Yes. Send the children out of the room.
Run away.
Check your wife's chastity. This is going down.
Wow.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Okay, for the record,
Here we go. Starting in the plaid room, Mr. Russell Frost joins us.
Here I am in solar heaven.
Solar plaid.
That
Tesla's finest solar panel made by Trina Solar. Thank you very much. Behind me.
Thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
And next we have in the Blackhawks corner, Mr. Tony Schaefer joins us from Chicago.
It's preseason, but I am ready. Yeah. So, there's 2 seasons in Chicago, winter and construction, but the 2 sub seasons are baseball and hockey, and we're at the changing of the season. So, hey everybody, welcome from hello from Chicago.
Is the Super Bowl shuffle that far in your past?
Yeah. You know what? I've never been a huge football fan. Just period. It's just never a sport that I got into. And so, and professional basketball. So really that leaves me with pretty much baseball and hockey and soccer, but I never really followed soccer either. But so that's it. I mean, people ask me about the Bears and I'm like, yeah, I'll watch them. But,
Yeah, they're here in Chicago somewhere.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Next from the DC area of the country, Mr. Kacey Green joins us.
Hello. So as you see behind me, I made another trip with the Tesla and trailer, and the desk is almost ready for us. Almost. It wasn't enough time to set it up in time for the show. It just made it into the office late last night, and got some wild stories about that. We got them on tape, and we'll get started on that at some point soon.
So you may be completely moved in by like 2021.
Yeah, by the time it's time to move out, we'll have everything moved out.
And certainly not least, Mr. Evan Fusco joins us from Southwest Missouri. How are you today, sir?
Good. It's good to be a Cards fan. I can tell you that.
Damn it!
Is it really? Why? I'm just curious.
They're leading the NL. I think our last 7 games against the Cubs are at home, so looking good.
Yes.
End of the season coming at us. Yeah. So Tony's quite confident they're going to take the wild card, though.
Yeah, they will.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the 2. Yeah.
But not confident enough to hang the Cubs jersey.
All right,
I had to do it, Tony. I just had to do it. Yeah. All right. Well, we got a ton of news, so let's get started. And we're going to start with the first story that Mr. Kacey Green was absolutely on the money last week. How about that? Kacey had explained that he had heard a rumor, not saying from who, not saying for what car, but he indicated that there was some retrofitting of computers. Hardware 3 was going into some Teslas that he heard of. And sure enough, this week, Teslarati and others reported that is exactly going on for Model S and X, is what has been reported. Not by Kacey, but no, we're not gonna hang him out to dry. This was Teslarati that was indicating S and X computers were being swapped. So interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people now are waiting to get that call. Indeed. How about it, Kacey? Did you get the call?
No, my car decided to be a jerk, and so I scheduled a service, and we'll see what becomes of that on my end. And a couple of people in the Charleston Tesla Club have said that they might have some stuff going on. We shall see.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
So I inquired as well about the hardware upgrade and was informed that it was only going on in California right now.
That is not accurate, but it is based on your VIN. So if your VIN hasn't popped, then it's not going to happen.
What exactly is popped?
So they have you on record as a FSD purchaser. I don't know if it's just people who bought in advance are getting it first, or if it's just random. But if the system doesn't have you as ready to go for the install, then they won't even offer it to you.
Okay.
Is there a reason you wouldn't be ready to go if you've already purchased it?
Yeah,
what would that reason be?
Supply and software versions.
Okay, so a software version possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But they can change their software version once they've got a hold of the car.
Yeah, they can update that anytime they want.
Yeah, but they can only make so many at a time.
Right. So obviously there is a supply demand at this point because of course that little bunny. Yes, Russell, thanks so much for that. You're having a great day today, Russell. I can just tell. Okay. All right. Next story.
All about art.
Next story comes from Mr. Green about a safety car list.
Yes. So there is an insurance firm in it was Europe, I believe, right? Or either way, there's an insurance firm that refuses to put the Tesla Model 3 on their safest car list because it doesn't have enough collisions to have a statistically significant number of crashes to say yes, it is safe. And Elon actually replied to the announcement of this and said, "I hope we never do get enough to be on that list."
Yeah, it was a Swedish insurance firm called Folksam.
Yes.
Folksam.
Yes, and several people commented that really just means that their methodology is out of date. I don't know that I would say that. I would just say that yes, there are other methods available, and maybe they could look into switching to them. But it doesn't mean that the way that they are doing it doesn't work.
Probably works for them, or they believe it works for them at this point.
The insurance company's job is to not pay, so yeah.
So I read all of this in the Teslarati article, but I wanted to see if I could find another view or take on this. So I was reading the National Review, which I think is backed by the Koch brothers think tank. And in bold letters, it said, Tesla doesn't make safest car list.
The Koch brother Institute?
Yeah, so that was a joke. That's not really an article, but it's just another thing of how something that was done because the car is so safe and there aren't enough data points, and I hate to say, like, in this era of spinning the news, I could see somebody easily grabbing this, putting up that headline, never mentioning the fact that it's almost like division by zero error. Mm-hmm. And just highlighting that it didn't make the list and saying, if you would like to purchase a car that did make the list, these are the cars you want to purchase. But remember, Tesla did not make the list.
Yeah, exactly. But, thank goodness we haven't seen that headline yet, but you've probably given someone a great idea, Tony. So thanks a lot.
Damn it.
He wasn't the only one to point that out, though.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Well, since we're doing this on Skype, maybe I can edit that out. So Tony's segment it will not have audio. But we'll.
That would actually make Russell's gesture more funny. Tony goes silent and Russell pantomimes.
It'll be a Mark voiceover.
Exactly. I'll talk Cubs for. On to the next piece of news, which is quite long, actually. And Russell will have no comment, as you can see from the video. But Elon apparently did a little trolling of Porsche over the past week, if not longer. And Evan's going to share some of that with us.
Yeah, so if you have been living in a cave with no internet and no news delivery, you might not have heard about the timed trials at Nurburgring, and how Elon and Tesla have been trolling Porsche, and Porsche's responded.
Can we set this up properly, Evan?
Sure, please.
Forgive me for amending your excellent reportage. But this started with 3 weeks ago, the Porsche Taycan setting a new Nurburgring record by like a minute or so, breaking the previous record.
Or an EV.
Okay,
no,
that's all.
For four-door, wasn't it a four-door?
Yeah, right. Yeah. For that class of vehicle.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay. Enter Tesla.
So immediately, within 24, 48 hours, Elon tweets something about that they would be sending a Model S to beat that record. And so the news has been filled with spy shots of modified Model S's, a couple different ones driving the course. People already saying, "Oh, they're cheating because it's modified; it's not stock." And then rumors came out that it was actually at least one of the vehicles was one of the plaid versions, which is the much rumored and now confirmed version of the Model S and what will eventually, I think, the platform that they're using evolve into the new Roadster, which will be a 3-motor version with some additional tuning to make it a little bit more appropriate for the racetrack. And so Tesla, somewhere, somehow along the line, apparently laid down a time on Nurburgring about 23 seconds faster than the Taycan. It was hand clocked. Russell's hanging his head. He's not buying it for a bit. So, and the inner tubes blew up. And so we've if you were to read everything, you think this is a done deal, foregone conclusion, but they haven't actually laid down an official time just yet. So that's coming.
Also, Elon didn't actually say that they would beat the Taycan. He just said they would be at Nurburgring next week, which is this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. He didn't say they were going to beat it. He just said they would be there.
He's there to come in second place.
But this story,
and then he also said that that the new Roadster will beat the time that the S just laid down. So
right.
That could be construed as saying that he would beat the. Yeah.
My second pretend vehicle is better than your first pretend vehicle.
This whole story is blown up big because Jalopnik came out with
they've had a series.
Oh my gosh! That they just said that Tesla shouldn't even be there. Essentially, is what it boiled down to, and they went into vivid detail about how most of these companies actually have time purchased to use the track, and they spend months setting up and tuning cars and preparing for their laps, and that this was going to be an embarrassment to Tesla, and it was an embarrassment to the whole concept of Nurburgring, and that the driver that they'd chosen wasn't an expert driver on Nurburgring, and that therefore he was going to fail. And Jalopnik's had a long hate affair with Tesla over the years, and this just sort of heavily reinforced that. At the same time, from that article, I pulled away. I thought there were some solid points in there, and it you kind of want Tesla to, if they're going to do this, then they should be dedicated to doing it, and they should show up, and they should tune, and they should prepare a vehicle and be ready to do it properly. So they're kind of playing by the same rules everybody else does. But if they can beat the time without doing that, well, hell with them, I guess.
Well, look at the way they configured the original Roadster. They would pull it off the ice, pull it off the track, and tune it right there on the spot. Whereas everybody else had to take it back to the wherever they go to do their tuning, and it's just not the way they do it. He did have a point about safety, but the way he was talking about safety sounded like he just had sour grapes. Yeah.
And it didn't even make the list, from what I heard.
Yeah, it didn't make the list. So I've got the photos of one of the prototypes up on my screen here. I'm noticing that the B-pillar cameras are taped off with black electrical tape.
That's so autopilot doesn't engage.
So it doesn't cheat.
So just go into hyperspace mode. Yeah.
Right.
Because then the rocket engines,
can you put the picture up?
Engines fire.
Oh, sure. Let me maximize.
Is that the same vehicle that still has the California
license plate on
HOV? No, the HOV stickers.
Oh, no, not that one. Not that one. Let's see how do I make this picture bigger. Oh, here, zoom. Oh, not that zoom.
I would like to read some tweets. Could I do that?
Read some tweets, please.
I'm going to read some tweets from everyone's favorite
Jack in the Box.
Everyone's favorite Tesla person, Edward Niedermeyer, said this just about an hour ago. And I'm going to read it because I think he is dead on the money. His first tweet: I've been trying to avoid talking about the Nurburgring pissing match.
Front is taped off too.
I will say this. Whatever else you might think about Tesla, it is unwise to doubt their ability to focus intense amounts of engineering, talent, and creativity on a short-term goal with publicity at stake. Tesla has proven again and again that this is exactly what they are entirely optimized for: hackathon heroics. They have achieved amazing things doing this. In fact, it is the source of basically all of their most important achievements, which are real and impressive. Putting what is probably a Roadster 2 development chassis drivetrain into a Model S body and setting a hot lap is something I trust Tesla to do well. Now, there's a derogatory sentence about Tesla's ability to manufacture, which I will leave out for the sake of the exploding heads already in the audience. Simple rule of thumb for Tesla watchers. I continue reading Ed's tweets. If it seems like something Elon genuinely cares about in a deep personal way, expect your expectations to be exceeded. If not, expect deep disappointment.
Uber credits.
Finally.
It's funny, I really don't remember Ed having a yellow hat.
Otherwise, it was spot on.
This looks just like Ed.
Yeah, it really does. He's
This looks
smiling
just
all
like
the time.
Ed.
Yeah.
He's wearing a suit, for God's sakes.
What I would like to comment on this is just the real trolling that's been going on here. Obviously, this wasn't done overnight. No, Tesla knew that the Porsche Taycan was coming. They knew it was going to set some sort of a record. And they had determined far before that car even set the record that they were going to go out and challenge it with a modified Model S with this plaid powertrain, the chassis update that they were planning. And they had to have been planning it more than a week. It was just because all the things just fell into place. Mm-hmm. The Taycan had the record, and it wasn't 72 hours. And Elon commented on it and said that they would be sending an S, and not 12 hours from that tweet, Formula One race car driver extraordinaire had indicated that, hey, I'll drive the car. Like, yeah. It's like it's falling into place. Like that does not happen.
Yes, it does.
And then to have the cars have the car, like not just one car, multiple cars,
3 to 5 cars
to Europe. In what, 3 days, 4 days?
Yeah, that's amazing.
And have them moving on the track and practicing? Like, come on.
And
this was
magically have been in the manufacturer's pool in time. That they
I totally disagree.
The article guy said they have never been in the pool before.
You're leaving something out, Mark. You're leaving something out.
They added a supercharger.
Every bit of my experience with Tesla bears out what Ed Niedermeyer said. Not that there was any kind of plan. There was any kind of. If you don't think that when Elon Musk snaps his fingers, a whole bunch of people at Tesla don't jump twice, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general, Mark. Yep. I'm telling you, last minute bullshit. Elon snapped. They started shipping things by air freight or whatever. Make it happen. It doesn't matter what it costs. It doesn't matter what it takes. It doesn't matter what kind of racing tires they use.
These vehicles were too polished to have been seat of the pants stuff.
I'm sorry.
They may have been the actual prototypes that they were actually using to develop the plaid, but I don't think that they were.
And it also connects with me too about how these Model S engineers, they're not just Model S engineers, they work on all the cars, I'm sure. But this group of people have been talking about, I imagine, since the Roadster, before the Roadster came out, about how we could use a third motor in multiple cars. And let's remember that YouTube, like Kim, like Tesla, Kim. Mm-hmm. She reported about getting some sort of leaks about a Model S that was getting a third motor as an option. And of course, this happened a number of months ago before this race, the Taycan laid down any type of a time trial or was even in the news. So this is something I believe that they've been working on in the background for quite some time.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask a question here.
All right.
Russell, you're going off about how Elon just snapped his fingers and all of this. here's my question. So what?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And you know what? So what? So what?
I mean,
everything at Tesla is going so well. They are doing so that this is absolutely. You know what? I'm going to make my point when we get to the V10 software update.
You're going to save your point. Okay.
So here's the what. I mean, I think it's just a way of saying, well, welcome to the club, but you still can't beat up your dad. And Tesla still has a big enough lead that at the drop of a hat, they can come out there and they can still dominate on a track like that against a legendary company like Porsche.
You know
what?
They took
Are you high?
Classic Roadster chassis, put the new Roadster stuff in it, and whoop-tailed it.
I don't. Porsche came out there with their very first generation, their first EV. They whipped ass.
No, they had an EV 100 years ago.
Oh, God. Okay, that's for the love of God. I know that Bertie Porsche drove at like 6.5 miles an hour, right? For about 200 feet. I get it. Like, I get that this is about Elon's masculinity and about his whole, like, being the god that he thinks he is. That's what this is about. And there's nothing wrong with that. Lots of CEOs act this way. He's not even sense.
But maybe it also has to do with Porsche and Audi and Jaguar and everyone else coming out with their Tesla killer and going to Nurburgring and saying, we're going to run our EV and we're going to show you how awesome it is. And Tesla shows up and says, sit down, Junior. I'll show you how it's done.
And look, and Porsche brings a certain cachet to the whole EV world. And if Tesla can come out and say, you know, if Porsche gets everybody's attention and goes, oh, look at this, EVs are legit, and Tesla can come out and dominate them, that gives them legitimacy too. And I think it attracts a bigger, wider audience. And this isn't just about Elon's ego. No. This is also about Elon's stockholders, Tesla's stockholders, and making money for this company. And if they can continue to demonstrate that they are not going to get washed away by somebody like Porsche just coming in and putting out a pretty car, I think that's important to them. I think it's important to the company.
Yeah. Plus, the same way that Audi and Jag are using Tesla as free marketing, Tesla can then turn around and use them to boost themselves, just like you said. And don't forget that Elon has never called out any of these others in any sort of way other than making fun of the word e-tron means feces in French. But he's never talked bad about any of the competition, unless it had fossil in it.
Yeah, legacy.
It ain't bragging if you can back it up.
Legacy automaker is a compliment.
Well, he's other than calling them legacy,
really nice and honorable.
He's never actually said, "Hey, don't buy the VW. Don't look at the Porsche." He's the closest he's come to that is making fun of. The bar
keeps getting lower for Elon.
The closest he's come to that so far with other manufacturers.
Here's my final point on Nurburgring. Where's the official time?
There is no official time.
Where's the official time? You know what?
There's no official time.
Shut the fuck up until you have an official time, okay? This bullshit of like, Rudy was there at the race and timed it at 7. You know what?
Elon didn't say that.
It's 2019.
It was not Tesla that said that.
It
was news
bullshit.
Outlets. It was news outlets.
Every Tesla propaganda outlet ran with this. Like
of course they did. It was a juicy piece of meat they were happy to lap up. That's just the way this media frenzy works. And you know it.
No argument, but that doesn't mean I have to respect it or like it.
No,
and again, if Tesla really did something, why aren't they talking about it? Where's the official time?
Oh, I think they know they don't have an official time, and they'll brag about it when they have it.
I am sure they will brag about it when they have it.
Right now, they're letting everybody else do the talking for them. Why should they say anything that's going to get thrown in their face when everybody else is doing it for them?
Let me ask one final question. How much longer should Tesla have to get that official time?
Well, when they actually do
Porsche, about 8 years.
Oh,
I mean, you think they would? I think they said that they're planning their official run in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so
they're going to do it shortly.
Okay.
By then.
I'm just asking.
I mean, and according to Jalopnik, it's supposed to take a couple months or something, right? So,
car companies certainly planned for that for a long time. But again, okay, I'm done.
Let's bring back.
Well,
that was a good segment.
One last thing. Do you think they'll put the new Roadster body on for that?
No.
Next year or somewhere in between.
I don't think they have a chassis ready for that.
No, they have two at least.
They have chassis.
Well, a tuned chassis, you think?
No, so they have at least two. They have the one where like half of the car is full of like plywood and stuff, and then they have
I don't think they have tuned chassis ready.
No.
Okay.
Not one that they're wanting to show off.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just curious. Okay, move on.
All right. Next story we're going to talk.
News. Thank you. Oh.
Next story we're going to talk a little bit about is the submarine Model X.
Yes.
And we got a little story here where they were talking about the flood damage, and sure enough, somebody decides they're going to go through the lake, and they take the Model X on a little cruise, a 3-hour cruise, and zips through the middle of the lake and chases the reporter away before his shoes get wet.
It's my new hero.
I have to tell you, this pissed me off so bad.
Thank you, Evan.
Why?
Well, A, because it's a stupid thing to do.
Absolutely.
And B, he probably has done permanent damage to that X.
Well, he's lost his
there's
warranty.
Water getting in everything with that. And like you could probably pull that off in a Toyota Camry if you did it right. But that doesn't mean it's a good idea, doesn't mean it's safe, and it doesn't mean it's good for the vehicle. And I don't think it proved one goddamn thing about the Model X by doing this.
Except there's one Model X owner somewhere that's really fucking stupid.
So
there's many people that are stupid.
So yeah, absolutely.
You see this after every flood, somebody driving through a lake in their vehicle where they shouldn't be.
Camry, Prius, Tesla.
And if you're anywhere near where this happened and you see a white Model X go on the used listings,
no kidding.
Yeah,
you do not want to be buying it, do you?
So I know firsthand of somebody who lives in an area that floods, and their driver's side suspension components snapped on their Model X, and because it's a saltwater flood area, Tesla refused to cover it under warranty or even go halfway with them on getting it fixed. And then on the forums, on top of that, I've heard of at least 3 or 4 other people who have had suspension failures that because of their environment.
Wompy wheels.
Not that guy. Screw that guy.
Like
legitimate
Wompy
cases.
wheels is too much.
Legitimate cases.
I just, you know what irritated me about this was seeing all the positive fun. Look at that Model X go. The submariner. It's like, you know what? If all the coverage had been, wow, what an asshole, I would have been like, hey, you know what? Right on. Way to go.
He could hit a pothole in the middle of all that and then just drowned.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he was going to drown.
Oh no! I mean,
just kill the
there was
car.
like a hole in the road, like a sinkhole.
Yes. Yeah.
Went in.
I guess that could have been possible, covered up by the water. You never would have known it was there.
I had no idea it was a construction site.
Yeah. But we wanted to show it and talk about it just for that exact reason, that you shouldn't be driving through any large puddles of water, regardless, in any vehicle. It's not something that is safe to do. And as Kacey had mentioned, if there was something that had been destroying the road beneath that water, that person never would have known. And then, of course, he puts not only himself in danger, but possibly rescuers in danger as well. So
there are 2 individual Lotus vehicles that can do it. Not models, but individual units that were part of James Bond.
Yeah, and that was not one of them.
No, it's not.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Even if on the touch screen?
even without the touch screen, yes.
No, because you can put it into the
that doesn't work. That's just an animation.
That doesn't make it work.
Absolutely not.
So I think let's move on from that.
Yeah, okay. Next story is about some battery patents and improvements. With the Tesla has released a new patent for their battery cells, which, according to the report, indicated that Jeff DeHaan's team in Dalhousie University, Nova Scotia, always mention Nova Scotia, they I don't know why, but this Canadian group has been working with Tesla now for many years and has been working on battery improvements. And apparently they've come up with the next generation of Li-ion battery cell that offers something called a single crystal NMC cathode and an advanced electrolyte in it that apparently offers a more energy dense product, as well with a cheaper cost of manufacturing. So talk about a win-win when it comes to batteries. That's exactly what you're looking for. But this research group has filed a patent for this. There's no connection as to whether or not this is going to be rolled into a certain vehicle or an upcoming production. But again, we hear about battery updates a lot of the time. And of course, on our sister show, What Drives Us, we talk about some battery updates all throughout time as they come up. But here in the world of Tesla, they're also examining this and looking to see if they can help them in future builds as well. So just another one to keep your eye on. The link will be in the show notes, and feel free to read through the details if you like. But good to see that they are continuing research, and it is something that they believe is hopeful for future production.
Yeah, this is one, I think this is tied to various other articles that says, it's a battery that can last up to 1 million miles and whatever. And yeah, I mean, maybe as they scale it up, they find that this battery isn't the best battery for an automotive application. Maybe they find that this is a power pack battery. Yeah, something that's really good at absorbing it slowly and discharging it slowly, or something. But yeah, I mean, this just shows again that Tesla is a car manufacturer, but at their core, like we've said many times, they're a battery company. Their battery technology is leaps and bounds above other battery manufacturers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next, guess what, guys?
Okay.
Guess what?
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Casey, to cut you off. What did you have?
Oh, wait. Let me guess. No, I won't guess.
No, go ahead, guess.
Is it? No, it's not.
Okay, so typically when I see these battery stories, I skim right on by them, and then even if it's not Tesla, and but this one has been kind of building and swelling lately, so I read into it, and it might happen. But as an owner of a former early 90 kilowatt hour battery, I've seen that they make mistakes. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but also as an owner of a 100 kilowatt hour battery, they get it right eventually.
Going through a number of different iterations, absolutely. Mm-hmm. There's going to be failures along the way, or not as great as successes as you believed it was, at least. Mm-hmm. So absolutely true. Next story that we're going on to is about, guess what, guys? It's the end of the quarter. Again.
Yes, it's push time.
Does that matter?
Push time.
How is that even relevant?
In the world of Tesla, the last 3 weeks of the quarter is panic time. So it becomes all bars are off. Anything can happen now that we're into the last couple weeks of the quarter. And of course, we have seen there's been a number of good deals pushed out there. And of course, the moral of the story is if you're going to buy a Tesla, probably wait to the end of a quarter to buy one, because there's going to be a number of goodies put on the table. And this has happened over and over for the past number of quarters in a row. So we are now being offered the ability to get basically 2 years of free supercharging on a vehicle you purchase, or the ability to get a couple of free upgrades. And this applies to all the vehicles. Mm-hmm. So you will see in some cases, I had seen that a Model 3 was available with whatever color you would like, and maybe the upgrade to the 19-inch rims, all for the regular sale price. and or have the ability to get that 2 years worth of supercharging. And we also saw recently that, of course, the referral program had doubled in value, so it went from 1,000 to 2,000 miles of free supercharging as well. So here we are. We're just over 2 weeks away, or just about 2 weeks away from the end of the quarter, and this sales lever has been pulled. And it would be interesting to see if this will continue, or if it will increase in deals, or what will happen as we get a week away from that. But Elon did comment about this on Twitter, about offering incentives as they reach the end of the quarter. And he made the indication that Tesla shipping product all over the world gets things wrong. Things don't go to the proper places. People cancel orders. There are a number of reasons why different product in different areas needs to be moved out. And that's what this end of the quarter is basically doing, is pushing these units out that they felt were mistakes or were overstock in certain areas of the country. Yeah. And I don't know if that is the case, but that's something that Elon went on to say in a Twitter feed.
Yeah, and he said several times now that they plan to stop the end of quarter push, and this time he suggested that that this might be one of the last times that they have these super lumpy mixes worldwide, because as we are about to talk about, they have come up with some solutions to dealing with their logistical problems. And like I always say, if you see a configuration on a Tesla that you like, and you've got the budget for it, just pull the trigger and buy it, because who knows when it'll be gone. Either somebody will buy the car that you want, or they'll stop making it, because like I have a car with ventilated seats, the new ventilated seats. They don't make them anymore. So now here I am sweating in South Carolina and Virginia. I hit a button, and I don't got the sweaty back situation. But had I waited a week and a half, they wouldn't even make it anymore. So
hey, can I real quick do my Elon Musk end of quarter imitation? Are you ready for this? All right, there you go.
Tony, I can't argue with that imitation.
And did he add the magic 5 words? You know the magic 5 words, right?
I love you, Tony Schaefer.
No. Elon, when he said, this is going to be the last, end of the quarter push, the magic 5 words, and this time, I mean it. This goes right back to what I was saying, or what Ed Niedermeyer was saying about Tesla and heroics, and who Elon Musk is, and these big pushes, and everybody's going to work 24 hours a day, and owners are going to come in and help deliver cars, and and all of this stuff. This is what Tesla is built on. If you think this is going away, I suggest you're not paying close attention.
It continues to evolve.
Yeah, less and less every time. Like at
this
one point,
innovation.
When Evan bought his first Tesla,
I said evolution.
That one for $20,000 off. They don't offer it like that anymore.
And what happened to the whole demand thing? I mean, why do you discount something where there's more demand than supply?
Because nobody wants the stealth performance in the area that it ended up in. So now you've got to sell the car without the brakes and wheels.
So they made the wrong car?
Yeah, or somebody canceled the order and now it's in Chicago.
The wrong car?
So, Russell, don't get this wrong. Are they still fumbling around? Of course. You won't get any argument about any, but to suggest that there hasn't been change in evolution and progress being made, I think is off base. I think they are learning and things are changing slowly. Let me give you a perfect example of how they've changed, and unfortunately it's working against me. But in the past, they were very liberal with their goodwill repairs and goodwill upgrades and changes to parts and things. But somewhere along the line, somebody that can count beans better than whoever was in their accounting meetings initially, and the balls to say something to Elon to get it done, has said, we're not going to do any more of these goodwill upgrades on vehicles out of warranty. And currently I've got that front end shimmy issue with my Model X. When we accelerate, it shakes and vibrates. I had it repaired 3 times under warranty. They're currently not going to repair it again, or say they're not going to. I'm trying to work through some routes to try to get an exception to that, because they had basically, well, long story short, they said they were going to do it while I was still under warranty, but suggested I wait until they had the new engineered part. And now they're not standing behind that because I don't have it in writing. And anyway, but they're learning.
Always getting around with these guys.
Right. I mean, because there's a lot of money at stake. If suddenly everybody came in with that front end issue that's out of warranty, it would be extremely expensive for them. So they're,
because it was every Model X.
Yeah. So they're learning. They're changing. Yeah, I mean, they're learning. They're a young, new company, and you know, a lot of despite the way he couched it, a lot of Ed's points in his book were on point. But you have to, where he was off is looking at the bigger picture and where they've changed and where they've developed, and the more aggregate positives they've put together as an organization.
And Tesla's not the only one that has this situation at the end of a period where they've got the order mix all jumbled up. When I was at Honda, we would often have you got the brown Civic LXs. Why don't we give them for $500 off if you buy today? If you buy tomorrow, it's going to be back at full price. And they're not the only ones. When I was at Chevy, same thing, cash on the hood.
It's there's no doubt that like discounting is a sector wide. Everybody in the car business does it, right? Everybody.
But they do it for the same reason.
I get emails from Aston Martin San Diego telling me that they've got cheap used Aston Martins down there. Mm-hmm. Now, that said, Elon's been quoted more times than I can count. We never discount.
And that's
discounting is a failure.
And that's what always gets his craw, is that, is when they actually are doing discounts, he'll find out who did it and he'll make an example of them, and because somebody gets a little out of hand, or somebody gets reported that they've done it, and he's like, we don't do discounts. We do, hey, here's the program. You get with the program. If you're discounting it, you're doing it wrong. But if the free wheels program is it, then yeah, it's there. But if only one person gets free wheels, then he doesn't like that.
This is sort of an example of one of my biggest problems with Tesla, which is that Tesla's never wrong. They're just trying.
Well, we just said they were wrong.
Tell you on what drives.
Trying to screw over Evan and
car company that exists for screwing something up. Everyone, but Tesla is never wrong. They're just trying hard.
They screw up all the time.
Again, that's a massive overgeneralization that I think doesn't apply to people that are knowledgeable, and it doesn't apply to me. Okay. But at the same time, I don't think you can paint it with such a broad brush.
Yes,
well, you can.
You can.
But I'm gonna put graffiti all over it.
That's what the show's all about.
Before we move on, if you're watching the program at this point, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, give us a subscription. Give us a new number. We would really appreciate it, and so would Mr. Ed with the yellow hat.
It's Jack in the Box, man.
Can we just give Russell a thumbs down and the rest of us a thumbs up? Is that?
No, it can't work like that. It can't work like that. We all got to get a thumbs up, even if you want to give Russell a thumbs down. You got to give us a thumbs down,
and then give us all a thumbs up afterwards.
Remember, a thumbs down for the show is a thumbs up for the Blackhawks. So
wait. I'm not into sports, but that could backfire.
You shouldn't have any problem with it, Casey. Just agree. That's okay.
If you're not a Hawks fan, you might want to give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, it's going to be a long season.
My goodness. Yeah, so do that. Also, if you like, you can follow us on the social media. You can follow us at the Tesla Life on our Twitter feed, and the Tesla Life #1 on our Facebook feed. So follow us there as well. Next story we've got is something about delivery logistics, which really ties into what we've been talking about. There is Elon came on and talked about how there was you have to have a delivery date before they ship a vehicle. So they would talk to a customer, get a delivery date written down, and then the vehicle would be shipped to match that delivery date. Well, that's a bit of a disadvantage for someone that does not have a dealership that just purchases the vehicle and then stores them at their own location for you. And what Elon has alluded to here is that maybe they should sell the vehicle and immediately ship it. Even though a delivery date is not set in stone, because a delivery date could be put in play as that vehicle is being shipped. And if so, there's going to be the ability for that vehicle to be given to a customer at a higher frequency, at a quicker rate. But that's if everything's perfect.
Yeah.
There is a number of ways that this can go awry, and a dealer or a showroom is going to have a number of vehicles sitting on their lot, which they're not really designed to do. A number of these showrooms, of course, do not have a ton of room to store vehicles. So there is a possible issue with just shipping them out after they're sold. But I wanted to talk to the rest of the panel and see what they thought about this new advancement.
So had this policy been in place when I bought the Model X, my car would have not gone on a hurricane tour of the Southeast. I would have had it, we would have evacuated, and it would have been fine. Now, had the car had any more damage or issues than it did when it got off the train and the boat and the train and the truck, whatever, it could have been bad. They could have had a damaged car on their hands and had to rebuild me a new one. Or, as Mark was alluding to, somebody cancels the order or the bank financing falls through on the way to the showroom. Now you've got a unit that's stuck at the wrong location, and so now orders are actually extra lumpy. But if everything goes perfectly and smoothly, then that would actually streamline their process. Because don't forget, until you take your keys, they haven't processed the sale, and so that car actually still belongs to Tesla until you take it from them. That's the way they do their accounting.
All right. Any other comments on this new delivery method? So we're at a wait and see. It appears that Evan is frozen.
I'm back.
He's back. Okay.
Back, Evan.
My Skype likes to crash. I don't know.
Okay.
Probably this 20-year-old computer.
We were talking about the Tesla logistics.
The delivery before there's a delivery date. Did you have a comment on that, Evan?
Not really.
Okay.
It's like, whatever.
It's something that we'll see if it works.
I mean, they're certainly notorious for the delivery issues that they've had but I don't have a lot of insight of how it's been going over the past 6 months or a year.
I get passed by the trucks all the time. It's pretty cool.
Well, on to the next big story, which of course is Mr. Wavy. Yes, on screen.
Elon made a surprise visit
Mr.
to
Wavy
the Boston Tesla
is celebrating the arrival of version 10, which Casey's going to tell us a little bit about.
Yes, version 10. Elon, where's my version 10? Yet again. Oh, my cheat sheet is missing. So, the version 10 has started to roll out to the some of the owners that are members of the existing early access program, as well as members that have purchased full self-driving, if their name isn't Kacey Green. The bulk of the installs right now have some new features such as Netflix, YouTube, karaoke mode. Yeah, are okay. I'm feeling lucky. Let me get a list here.
I'm feeling hungry.
Right?
There you go in the comments.
I'm feeling hungry, and there we go. It changed while I was reading it.
What is Cuphead?
Cuphead is a game that is kind of like a animated style, like Steamboat Willie, and I've been told it's quite fun and extremely challenging and frustrating.
I've heard it's very challenging, like to the point that some people give it up. Like it's that challenging. Yes. But and of course, in order to play Cuphead, you need to have a controller in the car. You can't even play it on the screen.
No,
you need a controller like an Xbox One controller or like to actually play the game.
Yeah, Xbox
Wow,
One
I did an images search, and this looks funky. That's some weird looking illustration, but it looks kind of cool.
I have a question for the Tesla owners on this show.
Okay.
Have you guys looked over the notes for V10?
Yeah, I was trying to pull them up. Also,
I'm not going to quiz you on them. I'm just a simple question.
Yeah.
Happy? Sad?
I'm sad that as some sucker who bought full self-drive with the car that I still don't have my stuff. But he's got till Saturday to have not pulled a fast one on me yet again.
I appreciate your candor, Mr. Green.
I'll be disappointed if I don't at least have advanced summons.
So that's the other thing I was going to get into was
and as someone that hasn't bought anything, I'm cool with it.
All right.
So some of the owners that are not part of the official early access program that have the new hardware 3.0 have seen the advanced summon show up in their cars. And somebody tweeted Elon, is that going to be 3.0 only? And apparently no, because on the original program it was not 3.0 only. It was actually on the older cars first, because there were more of them. And so I guess that of the people it's rolled out to that would get the enhanced summon, either they are abiding by the fact that it says not to share and not sharing, or perhaps it hasn't started to roll out to some of us yet. We'll see. But last time they did a mass rollout like this was Santa Mode. Was that almost 2 years ago now? And that took about 2 weeks, and literally all that the users could see that they added was you could say ho 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 to the voice command, and it would change your car into Santa's sleigh. And if you had a version of autopilot, it would actually, if you had version 2 or 2.5, it actually would not change your cars into reindeer, and it still doesn't to this day. But if you had autopilot 1, it would change all the other cars on the road to reindeer. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something that obviously a number of people are disappointed with, because the features that they expected or wished to be there to start with have been replaced with some games and some abilities to, like the I'm feeling hungry, I'm feeling lucky, to be directed to locations. And the vast majority of people are waiting for those autopilot pieces that are going to give them those summon and other abilities that they've been waiting a long time for. So definitely there is an air of disappointment as to what was selected to be released.
There's also Joe mode, which makes the car stop screaming, like G.I. Joe. So all of the beeps and bongs and warning sounds
are subdued.
Yeah, that way, if you have sleeping people in the car, it doesn't
I have one brief point to make about this.
Okay.
If I may. We were talking maybe a couple of months ago about Tesla software development, and I brought up the point that no matter what, any company has finite resources, and those finite resources in this case come in the form of developers, and that I thought that it was fun, but it was a trivial waste of time and off mission for Tesla to be working on games and toys and novelties when in fact they have features that they promised they haven't delivered. And as I recall, at least 2 of the people on this show said, but that's part of what makes Tesla Tesla. No argument there. And that's okay.
Well, it's still okay, because I don't want the guy who makes the game integration, if he's not skilled with powertrain.
Yeah. Then why is he even working there?
Why does he even work there?
Because
exactly.
Because he's doing part of it.
Yeah.
Because it's different than everybody else. Because it's fun. I want to be able to watch a Netflix movie on the screen when I'm sitting waiting for my kid. Because sometimes I have
superchargers anyway.
It doesn't have to be a supercharger. He can be waiting for his kid
anywhere.
He can be waiting for my kid to get out of theater rehearsal.
All you need is a connection to Wi-Fi, and you can do it.
Well, they also have alluded that there'll be premium internet, and I imagine that they will charge for it. So they can just pass that cost straight on to you.
Nothing like streaming a movie over LTE. That's going to cost a fortune.
I would pick low quality and play.
It's gonna look great on that screen.
Just watch the dots.
So I don't necessarily want the UI people to, if they're not skilled in it, I don't want the UI people to transfer over to the body control people.
Yeah. No, but I get that, and the argument is sound, and I did like the way they said you can watch a Netflix movie while you're supercharging. I get that, but I have to sneeze. It was a really bad time for that. Sorry. To Russell's point, the optics don't look good. You promised these features. You promised them. You bought them. You paid for these things.
I paid extra because he lowered the freaking price after I did it. Bastard.
You paid for all of that, and you got Cuphead in its place.
I don't have Cuphead. You want to give me that?
Okay, you don't even get that. And if you wanted to watch a movie while you were waiting for your kid or at the supercharger, that's why you have tablets. That's why you can tether to a hotspot or you get a cellular service on your tablet. I just think the optics look bad, like Russell said. It opens the door for people to say, why are you coming out with these trivial things when you promised these other features and functions you haven't yet delivered?
This is true.
I think that's a valid argument.
No, I do too. And I think these other things are part of what Tesla is, but yeah, look, people are going to get frustrated at some point here, right? And I'm not quite there yet. Maybe because my expectations of when realistically we'd see these features were more realistic. Yeah. But yeah, if there was somebody that bought into it thinking that they were imminent, yeah, I can see how that'd be pretty infuriating.
Well, I mean, I just when you spend the extra money, you expect to be at the front of the line, not at the back of the line. So they also
face it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I bought the 100D. I bought the full price full self drive. He said full self drive would get early access, and then we didn't. And then he said full self drive is at the front of the line, and then I'm not. I mean, there may be other people who bought more expensive configs than me, but I doubt it. And and I'll get over it. Like I said, it'll probably be here by the end of next month, and then I'll have forgotten about it. Everybody else will have forgotten they got games instead of a better automatic lane change, because that's coming. But I mean, they included stuff like software improvements. Like I always used to complain, and not just me. What are they downloading to my car? The car says it's download available. What is it? Now in this update, they'll tell you what's coming. I don't know if it gives you tells you what's changed, but it will say, hey, you've got version 2019.90 coming in. That's an impossible number because it's not a real weak number. But I mean, they are listening, and that's something that the UI team could do. They could tell you what version it downloaded, and the UI team did that. The application launcher they rearranged it. I don't know if that helps or not, but I guess it will in the future. They've fixed some of the Sentry Mode issues. They've updated the maps. They've smoothed out the auto lane change, and they also made it so that it displays in a way that makes sense. Because right now, my car indicates to me, oh, I'm going to merge in front of this truck. And then it slows way the fuck down, and then it merges behind the truck. Yeah. And I'm like, why did you do that? You told me you were getting in front. And so if I see it trying to do that, I actually just push the accelerator, and usually it will understand what I'm asking, and it will go in front, and then it will merge. Other times it tries to crash into the truck. So...
Right, and those things are great, and that's not, those are great. But this all
builds on it. Like if they didn't fix lane change, then I wouldn't trust it to do the full self drive that's supposed to be coming out. If it can't lane change correctly and smoothly, that's core. And so they are putting bits into it. It's not like they only focused on car okay, and I'm feeling lucky. They adjusted the lane change behavior. They adjusted the way they displayed the lane changes. I mean, they are taking steps. Some of them are large, and some of them are baby steps, and they are listening. Joe Mode was us customers asked for that. He didn't care about Joe Mode, and the lane change visualization. Obviously, the folks at Tesla thought it made sense, and they saw us getting confused, and so they fixed it. It's just they move slow sometimes. Sometimes they move fast.
It is taking longer than a number of people. Like Evan had mentioned, if you just bought into this 3 weeks ago,
well, it feels like Lightspeed.
You are going, well, I expect everything to roll out just as quick as I bought my car, and that is not the case when it comes to full self-driving. Like there's a number of stumbling blocks that are in front of them, and they're stumbling over some of them. Absolutely.
And as I was going to say, I mean, we are all early adapters. We're accustomed to bumps. We're accustomed to stuff. Not everybody is willing look at things like Kacey did and say, okay, well, the lane change thing is an adaptation and improvement that's going to be needed to hit this. So it's a way marker along the way. And yeah, I think, Mark, you're exactly right. There's people who are the lay person who's going to buy the car and say, I bought this and it promised advanced summons or whatever, and it promised the full self-drive and it promised this. So I expect that when I get my car, it's going to have it. And it's not.
Well, the other way to look at it though is my dad. He was telling me he was looking at the Audi and the Porsche and the Jag, and I explained to him whichever one he was looking at first had the $400 a year updates that you had to take to the dealer twice a year, and he's like, oh well, I'm gonna look at the other three now and the Rivian because I see you get software updates every month and you haven't paid a dime for the updates. I was like, yeah, exactly.
Well, you did pay for it. You just paid for it up front.
Exactly.
We all did.
We did. But like one day I asked him. I said, hey, I'm gonna put the car on your Wi-Fi, and I did. And then I hit the button to upgrade, and before we were done with family dinner, my car had new features, and he was impressed by that. And when I told him that the one he picked, you have to go to the dealer to do that, he said, free or paid or whatever. Why am I taking a trip down the street when you can do it over Wi-Fi? I said, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're running behind time. We got one more story to hit, and we're going to talk a little bit about Mr. Patrick Connor, who is not on the show tonight, but he released a blog post about 3 years of Tesla Model X ownership, and he provided us with some facts and figures about his third anniversary in his Model X P90, I believe it is. And Patrick had indicated that he's driven at this point about 32,000 miles on that vehicle over the 3 years, and that he goes into fuel costs, what he's paid for some supercharging or at home or other spots. But basically, over 3 years, he spent like $634 in fuel. Obviously, he does have free supercharging with the vehicle. He's paid for it in some instances, but with free supercharging, your fuel costs you've already paid for that up front. But he goes into the different bits of his upgrades, as Kacey was talking about, all the different upgrades that he's been given over that 3 years. He talks a little bit about battery degradation that he's experienced. Where he's at about 6.3% of range loss total over those 3 years. And he feels, or he states that that's about 2.1% on average it has lost per year, a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on the year, but it averages out to about 2.1. And his guess, he doesn't know this, but he is hoping, obviously, that the 2% will now start to lower because the last year it was 2%. The year before it was 2.2. He's hoping that it's going to drop into the 1 point something for the fourth year. But time will tell, and I'm sure Patrick will report on that because he's been actively keeping us up to date every year on his anniversary. So we'll be able to see if that is the case. But his link to his particular story in Cars with Cords will be posted, and you can go in and read the full story if you wish. It's an interesting read about his experience with the P90D.
This is a P? I think he's just a...
No, it's you're right. It's just a 90D.
So that's essentially the same vehicle that we have. We got ours in May of 2016, so just a couple months older. Have put about twice as many miles on as he has in that same time period. And I would say we're right about the same as far as our battery degradation. I think we're getting right at 240 on a full charge these days. And it's one of the bad battery packs.
The 90?
Yeah, we talked about. That's not bad.
Yeah. So speaking of free supercharging, this weekend, as I said, I did the U-Haul thing at home. Home being my house in South Carolina, we added $5.62 worth of electricity. Didn't pay that because I have solar panels and I haven't been at home, so the meter's been spinning backwards. And then we supercharged for $75.64 worth of free charging.
Wow.
Yeah, that's 560.25 kilowatt hours this weekend. So,
were you pulling a trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Again.
So we are getting our money's worth out of the free supercharging, but I don't imagine that anybody else who's choosing between no free supercharging and free supercharging, unless you're an edge case like me, I don't imagine that you can actually use all of that unless it's like the 1,000, 2,000 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That man, that's an incredible amount.
Oh, yes.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's using basically double what the vehicle would normally lose when he's pulling a trailer. You should have seen
the trailer he was pulling.
It's a full 12-foot square.
Yeah, it's the biggest U-Haul trailer they have.
And last but not least, just want to talk a little bit about National Drive Electric Week. This is the last weekend coming up. If you haven't already, please go on to National Drive Electric Week. Find an event that's happening near you and go out and support it. We've had a fabulous first half of the 2-week period, and we're hoping to close out with a bang with the last weekend coming up starting this Saturday. So get onto that website, take a look around, and support some EVs in your area if you can. And with that, any shout-outs, Mr. Schaefer?
I have none. None. Shout-outs.
Okay, that's fine. And I'll go to the always talkative Mr. Evan Fusco.
I may have a shout-out if I can.
What?
Oh my God! I just
Did
peed
that
myself.
show up? Did you guys see that or not?
Yep.
Oh, God.
There's my shout-out. Thank the gods. This may save us from this current political landscape. So
falling at the cows.
Go.
Yes,
Blues are leading 1-0, and they won last night. And go Cards, who have already won today.
Oh, you snuck that in.
Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. On to Mr. Green. Do you have a shout out, sir?
I do. So I have a YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Kacey Green. I've been telling you guys about my towing experience. Well, I actually remembered to hit record this time, so I will be downloading that footage, and I don't know if I'm going to add it to the pile and work my way back, or if I'm just going to put it in the front and get that one out next. But lots of exciting videos coming for you soon. Also, while I was doing that, we found several of the supercharging stations that I had visited regularly have actually expanded. So Lumberton, South Carolina is now an 8-stall supercharger, and Santee, South Carolina is temporarily an 8-stall supercharger. They added a urban supercharger on a pallet, whereas at Lumberton it was already a 4-stall Gen 1. They added 4 more Gen 1 stalls.
Very good. And last but not least, Mr. Frost, any shoutouts?
I am definitely least. Just for the I'm definitely least. And that. Of course, you want to follow us on Twitter at the Tesla Life, because you won't hear anything from me. You'll hear from Mark, who is actually a nice guy and has lots of good news. And that's where all the action is. At the Tesla Life on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. It's the Tesla Life #1. And Mark will go the rest. Otherwise, look for us later on tonight, probably all of us, on What Drives Us, where I will be similarly grumpy and unhinged.
I can attest to that. Absolutely.
Slightly more broader range.
All right. So thank you everyone for watching the show tonight. Again, if you haven't pressed the like button by now, do it. Don't forget now. Do it. Give us a thumbs up and follow us if you haven't already. We would really appreciate the number. Until next week. Join us and find out what's happening in the Tesla life. Have a good week, everyone.